She lied, cheated, and brought another man into my bedroom, then begged me not to seek revenge. She should have thought of that before betraying me under my own roof. I'll be honest, I was lonely. Life had become this endless cycle. Work, eat, sleep, repeat. I didn't have anyone to share it with, and it started to weigh on you after a while. I wanted someone to talk to, someone to care about. That's when I decided to give online dating a shot. I figured, why not? People meet online all the time, right? Maybe I'd get lucky. And that's how I met Tiana, a vibrant, beautiful woman from the Caribbean. From the very first message we clicked. She had this charm about her, and I couldn't get enough. We talked about everything. Our dreams, childhoods, and even silly things like our favorite foods. She told me she wanted to explore the world and start a new life somewhere exciting. I told her about my boring routines and how I was ready to change. It felt like we wanted the same things. Talking to Tiana felt like breathing fresh air after being stuck inside for too long. Every time my phone buzzed, my heart skipped a beat because I knew it was her. It wasn't long before chatting with her became the best part of my day. We were thousands of miles apart, but somehow it didn't matter. It was like we had known each other forever. I could tell her anything, and she made me feel like I was finally seen. After a few months of talking, I couldn't take it anymore. I needed to see Tiana. I wanted to know if what we had was real. So, I booked a flight to the Caribbean. I was nervous. What if it was awkward? What if she didn't like me in person? But at the same time, I couldn't wait. I counted down the days like a kid waiting for Christmas. When I finally landed and saw her for the first time, all those nerves disappeared. Seeing Tiana in real life, hearing her laugh, and holding her hand, it was better than I'd imagined. That first day, we walked along the beach, talking like we'd been doing it our whole lives. Within weeks, we were officially dating. It was fast, I know, but it felt so right. Every moment with her was intense, and I was convinced she was my soulmate, the one I was meant to be with. When Tiana and I talked about the future, it felt exciting, like we were building something special together. She told me how much she wanted to move to the United States to start a new life with me, and I wanted to make that happen. The plan was simple: bring her over, get married, and make her stay legal. It sounded straightforward, and at the time, it felt like the right thing to do. When Tiana finally arrived in the U.S., I was over the moon. Seeing her jump into my arms at the airport felt like a dream come true. We moved in together, and for the first few weeks it was perfect. We explored the city, shared meals, and talked about all the things we wanted to do together. But as happy as I was, I also felt a new sense of pressure. I knew it was up to me to make sure everything went smoothly, not just for her, but for us. We talked about getting married soon after she arrived, but I told her I needed some time to sort things out. There were financial issues I had to take care of and other responsibilities I wanted to get in order before making that big step. Tiana seemed to understand. She told me she trusted me and that she was willing to wait. That meant a lot to me, and it made me feel even more secure in our relationship. It felt like we were a team working toward the same goal. Looking back, it's painful to realize how much I trusted her back then. I truly believed we were on the same page, working toward a shared future. That's what made what happened later so devastating. After 4 months of Tiana's arrival, little things started to change, small things that didn't seem like much at first, but started adding up. It began with how she talked about my best friend, Mike. She seemed to bring him up in conversations more than usual. At first, I didn't think much of it. Mike's been in my life for years. He's like a brother to me. Tiana would laugh at his jokes and say things like, "Mike is so funny," or "Mike really understands me." She talked about him with a kind of excitement I hadn't seen before. It made me feel uneasy, but I told myself I was overthinking. I had introduced them, of course, because Mike had been part of my life long before Tiana came into the picture. But their interaction started to feel different. They seemed a bit too comfortable around each other. Tiana also started disappearing for short periods during the day. She'd say she was running errands. When I asked why she took so long, she'd change the subject or brush it off like I was being paranoid. Part of me wanted to believe I was just imagining things. After all, Tiana had left everything behind to be with me. She moved to a new country, away from her family and friends. Wasn't I being unfair by doubting her? But the doubts didn't go away. Once a crack forms, it's hard to ignore. At the same time, I was scared of what I might find if I pushed too hard. What if I accused her and was wrong? What if I ended up ruining our relationship over nothing? So, I kept my suspicions to myself. I watched. I listened. I waited. The day I confirmed my suspicions started like any other. I wasn't supposed to come home that afternoon. I had forgotten my work laptop at home and realized it halfway through my drive to the office. It wasn't a big deal. I could have gone without it, but I decided to turn back. I thought it would be a quick in and out, grab the laptop, and head back to work. As I pulled into the driveway, everything seemed normal. The house was quiet. I wasn't expecting anything out of the ordinary. The moment I opened the front door, I walked through the hallway, heading toward the living room where I had left my laptop. That's when I heard it, soft laughter, whispers, and moans. I froze. Slowly, I moved toward the sound, careful not to make a noise. When I peeked into the bedroom, my worst fears were right there in front of me. There she was, my girlfriend, lying on the bed with my best friend. They were wrapped up in each other, kissing like there was no tomorrow. I stood there, completely frozen, watching the scene. My mind went blank. I didn't know what to do. My first instinct was to burst into the room and yell, to confront them and demand answers. But something stopped me. Instead, I reached for my phone, my hands shaking as I hit the record button on the camera. I needed proof. I didn't know why exactly, I just knew I needed it. As I stood there, silently recording, a wave of emotions hit me all at once. I felt anger at both of them for betraying me like this. I felt heartbroken because this was the woman I had loved, the person I was planning to spend my life with. And I felt disbelief. How could this be happening in my own home, with someone I had trusted my entire life? I didn't stay long. I got what I needed, turned around, and walked out of the house as quietly as I could. I didn't want them to know I'd been there, not yet. I got back into my car, my hands still trembling as I gripped the steering wheel. In that moment, everything changed. My life, my relationships, my future, it all felt like it had been ripped apart. And the worst part? I didn't even know what I was going to do about it yet. I dug deeper. I went through her emails and her bank statements. I found out she'd been receiving money from my best friend for months. She was telling him sob stories about how her family was on the brink of losing their home or how her little brother needed school fees. The worst part? She made it seem like I didn't care about her family, which couldn't have been further from the truth. I had always supported her dreams and even helped her send money back home when she needed it. The more I uncovered, the more it became clear Tiana had been playing both of us. My best friend wasn't just some random fling. He was another pawn in her game. And me? I started questioning everything. Was she ever really in love with me? Or was I just another stepping stone in her plan? Every memory we shared now felt tainted. The sweet moments, the laughter, the promises of a future together, it all felt like a lie. I felt sick to my stomach. I couldn't believe I had brought this woman into my home, into my life, thinking she was someone I could trust. Now I was left wondering if she had ever cared about me at all, or if everything we had was just part of her scheme. I knew one thing for sure. Tiana wasn't the woman I thought she was, and I wasn't going to let her get away with it. I began planning my revenge. I needed her to feel safe, to let her guard down. That's when the idea came to me, a romantic road trip. Tiana loved surprises, and I'd always been the guy who tried to make her feel special. I figured if I played the role of the loving boyfriend a little longer, I could set the perfect trap. One evening, I suggested the idea to her while we were having dinner. I told her I wanted us to spend a weekend away, just the two of us, to reconnect and create memories before we got married. Her face lit up like I'd just handed her the world. She agreed without hesitation, completely unaware of what I was planning. I picked a date for the trip and made sure everything looked normal. I packed our bags and booked a decent hotel along the route, everything she'd expect. I even threw in a playlist of her favorite songs for the drive. But as much as I tried to act normal, my heart pounded in my chest every time I thought about what I was going to do. The day finally came and we hit the road. At first, everything seemed fine. She laughed at my jokes, sang along to the music, and talked about things like nothing was wrong. It was hard to sit there and listen to her, knowing what I knew. But I kept my cool, nodding and smiling like a fool. As we got closer to the border, I pulled the car over at a scenic spot, pretending it was for a photo break. But when I turned to look at her, my face wasn't the smiling one she was used to. "Tiana," I said, my voice calm but cold. "I know." She looked confused at first, but then her smile faded. "What do you mean?" she asked, trying to play dumb. I pulled out my phone and showed her the video, the one of her and my best friend. Her face went pale, and she stared at the screen like it was going to disappear if she blinked enough. "Don't bother lying," I said, cutting her off before she could speak. "I saw it. I've known for weeks." She started to cry, mumbling excuses about how it wasn't what it looked like and how she didn't mean to hurt me. But I wasn't in the mood to hear it. "It gets worse, doesn't it?" I said, my voice shaking with anger. "You've been playing both of us, haven't you? Taking money, making us think you care. Was any of this real?" She froze, and that was all the answer I needed. Her silence said it all. I got back in the car and told her to buckle up. She was still crying, begging me to talk it out, but I ignored her. The rest of the drive was dead silent, except for her occasional sniffles. When we finally reached the border, I pulled into the checkpoint and turned to her one last time. "You thought you could use me and get away with it. But this is where it ends." Her eyes widened as the realization hit her. "You can't do this," she said, panic creeping into her voice. "Please let me explain." But I was done listening. I handed over her details to the officers and explained the situation. Because she had overstayed her visa, they took her into custody immediately. She begged, screamed, and even threatened to expose me for what I'd done. But none of it mattered. The law was the law, and she had broken it. As I drove away, I knew she wouldn't be coming back. Because of her overstay, she'd be blacklisted from entering the country for years, maybe even forever. She was out of my life. As I drove away, it hit me how much I'd lost. It wasn't just her. I lost my best friend, the guy I thought had my back since we were kids. And I lost the version of myself that trusted people so easily. The house felt quieter when I got home. I cut off all contact with both of them, her and my best friend. I blocked their numbers, deleted their photos, and avoided places where I might run into him. It wasn't easy, though. There were nights I'd sit there and wonder if things could have been different, if I'd missed some signs earlier, or if I was partly to blame. But every time I remembered the way they betrayed me, that feeling of regret faded. Looking back, I realized the pain wasn't just about losing her. It was about being used, manipulated, and lied to by someone I loved and someone I trusted. She wasn't just unfaithful. She played us both, me and my best friend, for her own gain. I can't say whether he deserved it, but I know I didn't. Still, I can't ignore that part of me feels relieved. I caught this before it went any further. Imagine if we had gotten married. Imagine building a future with someone who didn't even see me as more than a means to an end. Weirdly, I'm thankful I found out when I did, painful as it was. I learned a lot from this mess. For one, love isn't just about chemistry or shared dreams. It's about trust, respect, and honesty. Without those things, it's nothing but a pretty picture hiding cracks that'll eventually break wide open. I also learned to trust my instincts. Those little doubts I had in the beginning, I should have paid attention to them. And here's the big one. I realized my worth. I spent so much time trying to make her happy, bending over backward to prove myself. But love shouldn't feel like a competition. I deserve someone who chooses me because they love me, not because of what I can do for them. I'll admit there's still a part of me that wonders, did I go too far? Was deporting her the right move, or should I have handled it differently? I want to hear from you. What would you have done in my shoes? If you've been through something similar, share your story in the comments. Maybe together, we can figure out how to navigate these kinds of betrayals and come out stronger on the other side. Thanks for sticking with me through this. It wasn't easy to relive, but I hope my story can help someone out there.